This is Payload Upward. Upward is a single-stage payload map that focuses on breaking through various stages of highly defensive positions. It presents a hefty challenge to both defending and offending teams and forces them to think about their strategy. It takes the form of a payload path winding around a huge mountain and has many sharp corners, similarly to Cactus Canyon. This video's purpose is to give pointers on each class's strategy for Upward. Scouts find themselves a bit trapped in some areas of this map, but can be very useful nonetheless. A good all-around choice is the Force of Nature, whose hefty knockback can be good for pushing enemies off the numerous cliffs. A scout choosing to use Bonk, Atomic Punch, can make his way past the enemy's deadly sentry nests, which are all too common on Upward, and come up behind the enemy team for a truly deadly attack. The Force of Nature, Soda Popper, and Babyface's Blaster are handy here for their increased mobility. However, choice of primary does not matter very much, as the scout's main job on this map is to use the many flanking routes to surprise attacking enemies. As a scout, you must be sure to avoid confined spaces such as the mine tunnel leading up to the second point and the building overlooking the red spawn point. Do not be afraid to dart away from the cart if it seems too dangerous. As a soldier, you are an invaluable class to have on offense and defense. The soldier's bulk makes him a prime candidate for blocking the point and suppressing attacks, as well as leading them, particularly against sentry nests. Having either the buff banner or the battalion's backup are an excellent choice for increased offensive and defensive power, respectively. Be sure to use your charge liberally to surmount sentry nests. As a primary, a rocket-jumping soldier is a less viable class on this rather confined map. Using the direct hit or Cow Mangler 5000, however, will allow you to devastate and or deactivate sentry nests. Use the Mangler with caution, as it does little damage to buildings and instead deactivates them for a short period of time. Particularly on defense, a good Pyro can tear apart the opposing team. With this map's numerous corners and ambush points, particularly in the mine tunnel and near the fourth capture point, a Pyro can easily step out from cover to destroy approaching enemies. The back burner comes especially in handy for its ability to deal critical hits when aimed at opponents' unaware backs. A Pyro can also act as an engineer buddy and help keep the all-too valuable sentry guns running with his sapper-destroying home wrecker and compression blast. Soldiers and demomen are lethal to sentries, but a good Pyro can reflect their projectiles easily. If you're going defensive Pyro, partnering with an engineer, be sure to use a weapon that can air blast easily, i.e. the degreaser or the flamethrower. As usual, demomen find themselves a very versatile class. As Upward has many flanking routes, the Scottish Resistance may be helpful for its ability to cover several at once. It can also be used to destroy sticky bombs about to blow up a sentry. The loose cannon can also knock enemies away from the cart and at choke points, as can the devastating power of the lock and load. The default grenade launcher can be used to bounce difficult shots off of nearby buildings to take down sentries that are not in view. A heavy is invaluable to any team, either offensive or defensive. When his massive bulk, particularly when paired with the Brass Beast or Natasha, sits in front of the cart or near a dispenser, the enemy team cannot move the cart an inch. Also use the Huo Long Heater with its circle of flame in conjunction with a friendly engineer dispenser to set approaching spies on fire and as such protect the buildings. Heavies are also the only class that can get sentry close to a sentry and hope to tell the tale, especially when under the effects of an ubercharge. They can be great cart pushers as well with the Brass Beast, be sure to have the cart do the moving for you, or the Huo Long Heater. Engineers are perhaps the keystone of a defensive team, and the success of a team on Upward largely depends on the success of its engineers. A level 3 sentry gun, or 2, or 3, makes an almost insurmountable hazard, especially when placed at right angles to an approaching team. This is what makes the second capture point the hardest to capture, as an attacking team can come out of the mineshaft to stare straight down the 4 rocket launchers of the fabled level 3. All of the capture points except arguably number 3 can be defended successfully by a sentry nest. On offense, an engineer's teleporters are invaluable in putting sustained pressure on point 2, the key element in breaking through. Also, an engineer armed with a gunslinger's mini sentry guns and the Wrangler is a very deadly sentry destroyer. Using the Wrangler, one can set up a mini sentry down the straightaway from an engineer nest and fire away from out of their range. It is very possible, using the incredibly fast firing rate, with the Wrangler 4 times that of a normal sentry, to take down even a level 3. As a medic, your uber charge is going to be a primary factor in punching through defenses as well as crushing attacks that would otherwise break your defense. Both with the Vaccinator and stock Medigun. Note that the quick fix is usually not enough to surmount hazards, and the Kritzkrieg is a purely offensive Medigun, providing no protection against sentries or anything like that. But the quick fix is still an option if there's a weakened sentry or only one, and can provide a huge help because it negates knockback. A babyface's blaster scout pulling a quick fix medic behind him may find it possible to strafe a level 3 successfully. Snipers are perhaps the best classes at removing sentry guns on this map, excluding spies. They can find plenty of vantage points, especially while on offense, that allow them to wreak havoc on the enemies below, but they're not untouchable like on other maps. A sniper must, in particular, be wary of soldiers, as their projectiles can easily hit him. If he moves away from the wall to avoid splash damage, spies can backstab him. As such, the Razorback may come in handy. Spies are sometimes the only thing that can break a sentry position that would otherwise stonewall your team, particularly if there are 2 sentries. A quick spy can sneak in, backstab the engineers, and sap the sentries before they turn on him. This takes some effort though, and it may be necessary to take the sentries in 2 separate goes using the dead ringer. In addition, a spy using your eternal reward can quickly clear out the crowd, pushing the cart with little effort. The enemies rely on constant spy checking from their pyros to stop these walking sentry busters. Above all, remember to take advantage of cover and flanking routes if one is not a heavier soldier, which generally can take heavier fire. Upward presents plenty of opportunities to avoid enemy attacks, and this is both the weakness and strength of the defensive points. To crack points, the offensive team must approach from multiple directions. There are at least 4 different routes leading up to point 2, and many ways to the final red base at point 4. The offensive team must organize their troops and deploy them accordingly, with mind to where the enemy expects a strike force. For example, artillery classes, soldiers and demomen, must attack the sentries, while heavy should start pushing the cart as scouts and pyros take the flank routes. Success on Upward relies almost entirely on team communication and strategy. I hope this video guide helps you become better at playing Payload Upward. Thank you for watching, and until next time.